You're listening to Trigger Warnings, challenging talk radio featuring John Ross and Chris Smith. I'm Chris Smith, and John Ross is on the line from the heart of American carnage.
Hello, welcome to American Carnage. How are you in stately Vermont?
Well, we're ever stately. We are ever stately. We are all trying to come to grips with life in the Bernie bubble. Post-Bernie, pre-Bernie.
Yeah, well,
with, as the Beatles said, within, without you, Bernie. Whatever it's going to be, Bernie. Yeah, Vermont, well, and it's also the rainy season. It's monsoon season here.
It's monsoon. Yes, you do have monsoons. Those Indian Ocean monsoons that sweep through Vermont. Yes, I know. You know, I have decided to go with a more open-ended, subjective warm-up question this week. I don't know where you are with this, but I just thought this was a good week to throw you an open-ended question that has no wrong answer. I don't know. Have you planned anything for me of the warm-up nature?
Of course. I have a warm-up question for you. And I also have an announcement of this week's prize, what we'll be playing.
Well, you are... Yes. What are we playing for?
This week we will be playing for 500 pounds of coarse gravel imported from Braintree, Vermont to your doorstep. So if you win this is going to be a pain in the butt, and I hope you have space for it, but I know right where it's going to go.
So a dump truck is going to be arriving at my house.
I mean, well, no, it just says that you win the gravel. It doesn't say anything about the transportation of that gravel. You could make a couple trips, though.
This sounds like a bad eBay ad. This is a bad eBay ad.
Suddenly, you don't want to win.
You were going to send me Mike. I don't want to win. If you were to tell me that you were going to ship me Mike Gravel, the former Alaska governor and 2008 Democratic presidential hopeful, then that would be interesting because, he's kind of an old crotchety guy. He's kind of like a Bernie Sanders in Alaska type, and, he'd be interesting. I don't think he weighs 500 pounds, but maybe his whole family.
It was going to be a Toyota Prius full of firewood, but I heard that you're all set.
I took care of that myself yesterday. I hauled it on my own, and I made a fire with it last night in my outdoor fire pit because the indoor fire pit's too dangerous. Well, you are the defending champion, so if you wish, you did break my unmitigated winning streak last week. So
nothing is unmitigated. Nothing is unmitigated. But please bring upon your warm up.
Except disaster. Okay, so here's my warm up. And this is around the climate accord issue. We have on one hand the French president who gave a brilliant, in almost perfect English, three-minute address to Americans, where the only word he said that really didn't sound good American was engineer, with the tagline, "Make the planet great again," standing up to our president and standing up to the Russian president by staring him down and embarrassing him publicly at a joint press conference. On the other hand, we have the mayor of Chicago, who when President Orange Nose made his announcement, said, well, this is going to wake up the Democratic Party. And,
yes.
He then expounded on it. Hey, so my question to you is, which Emmanuel had a better week, Rahm or Macron? And by the way, the great thing about the French president is that his surname sounds like a kind of polyester. I don't think the French realize that.
Rahm Emanuel.
Which Emmanuel had the better week?
I'd say Macron, because he's a player on the world stage. Rahm Emanuel's the Mayor of Chicago, yes. Still, currently, yes.
Still,
And crime is
yes.
good, bad, better, worse? Worse, I
Oh, it's
believe.
always bad.
Well,
But
always bad is not
week
as... I can't buy always bad. Worse or better in the last 6 months, according to you, a Chicago resident?
The numbers may be a little bit better, but not only marginally. I think we agreed that the Emmanuel who had the better week was Macron.
Absolutely, Rahm Emanuel. I'm not sure.
Macron,
You tell me what it would take for Rahm Emanuel to have a good week.
He had a good week. He's
a date with
very
Huma?
well now because
a date with Huma is about all I can come up with, sir.
I think Huma's available. I think that Rom's doing better because, like just about every other politician, foreign and domestic, who's not a conservative Republican, he's running against the president, and he's doing very well. I think it's safe to say that the American president has made great steps to elect the French president and turn him into an instant hero, and to reelect the German chancellor, who has been in real trouble, but now looks like she's not in real trouble. I don't think the American president is going to take down the British prime minister, but he's a great political asset for just the first half of that word. Yes, Emmanuel Macron had a better week. Emmanuel Macron is the greatest political figure in history. What's that?
I said lovely. That was a good warm up.
Lovely. Macron is Charles de Gaulle, but with good looks.
Ooh. John
and
Ross
your
playing the world stage there. Very nice. You want to warm up?
You know me. It's up to you. It's either a warm up or the first question. Hey,
No, I'll give you a warm up. I don't know if I should go with the kinder, gentler warm up or neither of them are beautiful. All right, so guess who? Guess who finally gave his Nobel lecture? I'm sure you could guess.
Oh, did Dr. Dylan?
Bob!
Did Dr.
Yes.
Dylan give a Nobel lecture?
Bob explained literature. And he talked about certain works of literature. Which work of literature did he begin his 27-minute Nobel lecture with? Was it A, Melville's Moby Dick, B, Whitman's Leaves of Grass, C, Sinclair Lewis's Babbitt, or D, his namesake, Dylan Thomas's Under Milkwood?
Well, Dylan Thomas is the obvious choice.
Isn't it, though? It is.
Because he does model himself, literally. It's a lot better than Bobby Zimmerman. That's all I can say. Wow, that was a lovely one. So who should give the first?
Whoa, wait a minute. You're wrong, sir. I'm sorry. The answer was Moby Dick. Thank you for your confidence. And a quote from Moby Dick, your short answer warm-up. Respond to this quote that Bob highlighted for us. Some men who receive injuries are led to God. Others are led to bitterness.
That's a great question. That's great. That's that is the Randy Pausch's last lecture, basically. That's what I would say. Randy Pausch's last lecture, the guy who gave the last lecture at Carnegie Mellon when he was dying of cancer, that saying that it's all about that the brick wall is there to stop others, not to stop us, and that stuff. The last lecture, the famous last lecture, the look it up.
I will. Thank you. Okay, well, there's your short answer. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, thank you for getting it wrong, because I was actually going to say that if it wasn't Dylan Thomas, it was Walt Whitman, but I would have been wrong.
Whoa.
So, okay.
Oh, okay. It sounds like everybody knows who won the warm up. Now on to the game. John, why don't you go first this week?
Well, there's a pattern to my questions. I've realized there's always kind of the obituary themed question, and so I'm going to start off with an obituary themed question. In this era of autocrats, last week we said bye-bye to one of the great dictators, Manuel Noriega of Panama. The U.S. Army extricated the dictator from Panama in 1990 after a prolonged standoff at the Papal Nuncio in Panama City on the fifth day of the U.S. invasion. The incident at the Vatican-owned property was mishandled, peeving Pope John Paul II, but we got our man. What eventually got him out into U.S. custody was psychological warfare, featuring ear-splittingly loud 24/7 rock music. Which of these arena rock hits was not used as part of that psychological warfare effort? I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. I Fought the Law by The Clash. You Shook Me All Night Long by AC/DC. Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses. Or Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die by Jethro Tull. You weren't expecting a rock music question in the obituary, were you?
No, thank you. I was. This is.
Which of
Yeah. Okay. Give me. Let's see. Joan Jett, Rock and Roll.
Was not used by the U.S. Army. We may have a bad connection.
No, I heard you. Joan Jett.
Oh. Do you need the songs or just the band?
But band and song, please.
Okay. I Love Rock and Roll, Joan Jett. I Fought the Law, The Clash. You Shook Me All Night Long, AC/DC. Welcome to the Jungle, Guns N' Roses. Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die, Jethro Tull.
All right, Joan Jett is certainly. I mean, you got to think about what is the theme here. I Love Rock and Roll is obviously where we're at. AC/DC is obvious. Guns N' Roses is obvious. It's been between The Clash and Jethro Tull. The Tull song, Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die? I don't remember that being a hard-hitting Tull song. And lyrically, I think it's one of the longer Tull songs. Whereas the Clash song is which one is it?
I Fought the Law.
I Fought the Law? No, Noriega was fighting the law. We're going to go with the Clash song.
That's a great effort in inductive reasoning, but it was Joan Jett.
Ooh, oh, okay. Shucks.
So it's really more the lyrical, the tone and the lyrical nature of the song, I believe, in addition to the sheer high decibel level. I don't know why they didn't do I Love Rock and Roll, but when he died, I just thought back to those moments in great 80s rock, or 70s rock in the case of Joan Jett. And that was it. So you're 0 for 1? That was a good kickoff question. They get better. Okay, round
they
one.
do get better. Okay. The Gateway Pundit. Are you familiar with this news site?
Yes, I am.
It was started by Mr. Jim Hoft during the 2004 presidential campaign. In 2013, Mr. Hoft was given the Reed Irvine Award for New Media at CPAC. More recently, the Gateway Pundit has been named during congressional hearings as a site that may have spread fake news during the 2016 campaign, and some others have been raised questions regarding the site's allegiances. What is the slogan of the website, The Gateway Pundit? Is it A, where truth finally made a comeback? B, where hope finally made a comeback? C, your source for the facts? D, your source for the news, E, America at its best?
It's a really good question. I should know such details, but I'm not on there enough. Uh, uh, hmm. So it's where America goes for its news, America goes for its facts.
Slow down. A, where truth finally made a comeback. B, where hope finally made a comeback. C, your source for the facts. D, your source for the news. E, America at its best.
Yeah, I've heard E. I know it's a slogan for somebody, but it's so. I'm going to say it's where America gets its news.
Your source for the news?
Your source for the news, but I'm not terribly confident about that.
Well, you shouldn't be. The answer was where hope finally made a comeback.
I would never in a million years have guessed that a site like that would have the word hope in it. Okay.
Your bonus, which of these stories was actually published this week by the Gateway Pundit? A, shock video, Syrian nerve gas being imported to Turkey. B, shock video, CNN creates hashtag fake news in London following terror attacks, stages anti-ISIS Muslim protesters. C, shock video, Nancy Pelosi caught on hot mic calling Obamacare a, quote, failure. D, shock video, Hillary 2020 campaign strategy session.
It's Nancy Pelosi.
It's not. It's CNN creates fake news in London following terror attacks.
Okay. Well, at least if I got the regular question wrong, I should get the bonus question wrong. Okay.
The score 0-0.
There's no score, as they say in the sports biz. Question 2, speaking of sports.
Oh, thank you.
During the Stanley Cup Finals between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Nashville who? Do you remember?
Nashville?
No, Predators.
I was going to say Panthers. Thank you.
Yeah, close. They're from Florida. That's very close. The exciting opening game set a record. The Penguins won 5-3, but went without a shot for more than 38 minutes of the game, blowing a 3-0 lead before coming back late. In winning, they set a record for the fewest shots on goal by a winning team in a Stanley Cup final game. How many shots did they have? 10, 12, 13, 14, or 15?
Fewest shots ever in...
Fewest shots on goal. They don't keep statistics on shots. They keep statistics on shots on goal in a game by a team that won in a Stanley Cup final. They got
in
5
a Stanley
goals.
Cup final.
Right. They got 5 goals in how many shots? 10, 12, 13, 14, 15.
10, 12, 13, 14, 15. Dude, really? I really? 13 is going to have to be my blind guess because...
Yeah, that's a great guess, but it was 12. The previous record was 15. That's why it's such an amazing feat.
Oh, yeah, that's...
5 goals on 12 shots. One of them was an empty net goal when the other team pulled the goalie to try and get it on to tie the game. But that's amazing because the previous record was 15 shots. And they didn't get 12 shots and 1 goal. They got 12 shots and 5. That's pretty impressive. The series is now tied, in case you care, 2-2 after last night's Predators win in Nashville. It is now a best-of-3 series. Game 5 is in Pittsburgh Thursday. Okay.
The unexplained murder of DNC staffer Seth Rich continues to fascinate media. Many believe Rich may have been the source of DNC information later published on WikiLeaks. Rich was found dead on July 10. On August 9th, via Twitter, WikiLeaks offered, quote, a reward for information leading to the conviction for the murder of DNC staffer Seth Rich. How much is this reward, which still stands?
Oh, God.
No multiple choice either. This is just a fill in the blank. Can you believe that?
No, that's ridiculous.
As ridiculous as what they played Noriega through speakers in the 90s? I would say.
Hey,
I would say so.
I gave you multiple choice. What
A, 20, B, 50, C, 100, D, 150. All 150,000.
$100,000.
No, 20. Well done. Your bonus, which...
I don't want to...
Yes, you do. You want a bonus. Which of these tweets, in response to WikiLeaks' reward, strikes you most? Is it A, at Qatar GOP, that's QATAR GOP, quote, can the DNC collect this reward? Or is it at 6280 Crush, who said, quote, twisting Hillary's nipples until she talks. Keep the money, just twist. Is it C, at Save Graves 1, who said, quote, rather a paltry sum designed to attract no takers? Or D, at Bach Juliet, who said, quote, I am wondering what is going on. I have a phone that is hacked. I have information that you would be interested in. 3 exclamation points. Which of those tweets in response to WikiLeaks reward strikes you most?
I like A. I think A is really cool.
I think so. Can the DNC collect this reward? The DNC needs it. Oh, well, the score is...
If what Hillary said is true, that she had to single-handedly rebuild it, build her own wall, and if what the funding totals, the record low funding totals suggest, yes, they are going to need that $20,000 will come in handy.
And to be clear, a D.C. businessman whose name I did not write down, according to things I read on the internet, pledged an additional $100,000. The D.C. police have a reward posted for $20,000. All of this seeking information regarding the death of Seth Rich. Well,
see, that's why I said 100,000, because I was referring to the entrepreneurs hat on. But I guess there are
no. The question was very specifically about WikiLeaks reward.
I know. I'm just saying. All right.
Well, it's okay as long as we're at even, which is 0.
We're even, Steven. Top of the third. Given that my last question made reference to the hockey team from Pittsburgh, let's stay on the Pittsburgh theme, shall we? When, in announcing the U.S. would pull out of the Paris Climate Accord, President Stumpy Fingers declared that he was bound to, quote, Pittsburgh, not Paris, unquote. That statement catalyzed not only anger from the mayor of Pittsburgh, but creative alliteration among other members of the administration. Which geographic place name did Vice President Mike Ready to Run Pence use instead of Pittsburgh and Paris in a stop last week? Allentown and Amsterdam, Ohio and Oslo, Des Moines and Denmark, Cincinnati and Strasbourg, Milwaukee and Munich.
Oh, come on. It's not Cincinnati and that's a mouthful right there.
Strasbourg is the headquarters of the EU. I'd be careful.
What?
Strasbourg is where the EU is headquartered. Well, the European Commission is headquartered there. So,
yeah, that's not a priority to President Stumpy Fingers, as you so eloquently put. Could I get those names again, please?
Yeah. So again, as he said, isn't it great? Something to the fact that isn't it great that the president cares more about blank U.S. location than blank European location? So are those alliterative place names Allentown and Amsterdam, Ohio and Oslo, Des Moines and Denmark,
I'm sorry, I have to
Cincinnati
take
and
notes
Strasbourg,
on these.
or Milwaukee and Munich?
Milwaukee.
I'm sorry? You're making notes?
Yeah, I have to write these down. I need to look at them. Allentown, Amsterdam. Number 2 was
Allentown, Amsterdam, Ohio, Oslo, Des Moines, Denmark, Cincinnati, Strasbourg, Milwaukee, Munich.
all right. So Ohio, Oslo. All right. Allentown, Amsterdam, Ohio, Oslo, Des Moines, Denmark, Cincinnati, blah blah blah, Milwaukee, Munich,
Strasbourg.
Strasbourg. Thank you.
Strasbourg.
It's not the Cincinnati one. It's not Ohio and Oslo because those that had to do analogies to be able to get through the SATs, we can match up similar things and understand that Ohio is not a city in the way that this Pittsburgh Paris thing works. It needs to be city to city, not state to city. So that one's out. Des Moines, Denmark. Where did Pence go? I don't know. I'm not even sure where I've been this past week. So based on that, he's going to say it wherever he's going. Allentown is a hop, skip, and a jump from anything. And the current Republican administration believes they love Pennsylvania. So I'm going to go with the Allentown, Amsterdam.
Now, you would think, and you did it very well, you used the SAT analogy.
Thank you.
Because Pittsburgh is a city, and so is Paris. But what the administration is more interested in, aside from things that are not factual, is one-liners. And it really doesn't.
I'm sorry, your reception just broke up.
It's an equivalent city to city because he was in Iowa and he said Des Moines. It doesn't matter that they don't follow the analogy because he was in Iowa and it was Des Moines and Denmark. I'm sorry, you got that wrong.
Well, what can I say? I have very little respect.
I almost let that cat out of the bag yesterday, but I said, no, I think I'm going to save that for the quiz, and so I did.
And it didn't. I mean, we're still at 0-0 here, right?
He could have said Des Moines and Dortmund. He could have done that, but I don't think most people know what Dortmund is. I think he had to go with a big, a place that people in Iowa would have heard of.
Yeah.
And so,
no one ever went broke underestimating the
intelligence. Yes, thank you. Yes. And in fact, I was pretty confident you were going to answer Allentown and Amsterdam because that's why I came up with it.
But you know why you would not do Allentown, Amsterdam if you were writing this rhetoric for the administration? Because we're living here in Allentown, and they're tearing all the factories down. That kind of thing.
Which is exactly why you would use it. All right, let's see if we can break our losing streak here. You're 0 for 2 on questions that involve Pittsburgh.
You're gonna love this. We're both 0 for 0. Still,
0 for 0. Yes.
The Massachusetts Democratic Party will be playing Worcester's DCU Center this coming Saturday as they hold their annual state convention. Following a series of public hearings held across the Bay State, the Massachusetts Dems have created their own platform, which includes everything from a $15 an hour minimum wage to an additional tax on incomes over $1 million, universal background checks, and much more. Platform Committee co-chair Paul Feeney told the press that the new draft platform was, quote, a bold statement. What position did Mr. Feeney previously hold? Context, right? He's the Platform Committee co-chair for the upcoming Mass Democratic Party convention this coming weekend. What did he do before he's doing that? Was he the director of Elizabeth Warren's campaign for senator? Was he the Massachusetts director for Bernie Sanders in 2016? Was he the Massachusetts director for Hillary Clinton in 2016? Or Was he the former aide to Colorado Governor Hickenlooper?
I believe that the Massachusetts Democratic Party had an uprising from Bernie people. And so I think Feeney, as the co-chair, would have been half of the party that's from the Bernie side. And so I think he was a Bernie guy.
You
That's
think
my
he was the
answer.
former
Bernie.
Massachusetts director of Bernie Sanders' 2016 campaign?
Yes.
You are correct. There's a score on the board. Well done.
Or
You know what? I kind of built that question, and I kind of wanted to give it to you because I just think it's so cool. It makes me really wonder what's going to happen this weekend in Massachusetts when a not small state will rally behind a new list of things they believe.
absolutely.
And that list was created according to what I read in a couple places, over 1,000 people attended, a dozen different, forums across the state. We want to know what you think. And this is all post-November action. So isn't that fun?
Okay. Top of the fourth. The Paris pullout led two important CEO figures, Tesla's Elon Musk and Disney's Robert Iger, to pull out of presidential advisory board. But other CEOs were more two-faced, either criticizing President Gasbag's decision or more likely reinforcing their commitment to stay on the inside of the tent, pissing out, than on the outside, pissing in, so to speak. Which CEO gave this rather contradictory and somewhat duplicitous statement? Quote, growing public concerns about the impact of these activities on our environment have brought attention to society's actions to reduce these emissions. But you are never going to agree with all the decisions that are made by elected officials. That's why it's best that we continue to engage with the administration and work constructively toward the best possible outcomes, unquote. Was that uttered by Doug McMillon, CEO of Walmart, Ginny Rometty, CEO of IBM, Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan Chase, Andrew Laveris, CPO of Dow Chemical, or Mark Sutton, CEO of International Paper?
The most interesting thing about that statement to me is the line, you're never going to agree with everything, ...
Yes.
And to me, that strikes me most as someone that is not vested in retail, not vested in chemicals, but in fact vested in whatever they can get their hands on, which would be a banker, which would be JP Morgan.
That's a great answer, except it's wrong. It's Mark Sutton of International Paper.
Oh, goodness. Well,
all of these folks are big contributors. The Dow Chemical guy was on the Middle East trip, and I think inked a huge deal with the Saudis while he was over there. But anyway, great. You're using great inductive reasoning. Unfortunately, I have not necessarily given you inductive reasoning questions. But
that is true. All right. Well, what is this?
Bottom of the fourth.
Bottom of the fourth. Here is your higher ed special.
Ooh.
According to a June 5th article by a local ABC affiliate, at least 10 freshmen who would have been entering a certain Ivy League school in the fall of 2017 have had their acceptances rescinded.
Ooh.
Name the school and the incident. Was it A, an alcohol-fueled party held off campus during an accepted students' weekend at Princeton, which led to multiple arrests and much media coverage? Was it B, at Cornell, students' acceptance materials, including essays, were found to have been purchased after one student accidentally forwarded damning email evidence to an admissions counselor? Was it C, 10 students who were to be entering Columbia this fall were found to be on a terrorist watch list? Acceptance letters were rescinded by request of the FBI? Or D, incoming Harvard students were caught sharing racist and sexually explicit memes with each other via private message on Facebook. Why?
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
that's a great question. Yeah, any of them. I think the one that's least plausible is Columbia.
Uh-huh.
We would have heard that. I don't think it's Princeton because that's too obvious. That leaves us with Harvard and Cornell. I think I heard something that sounded very much like the Harvard answer. I'm inclined to go with Cornell, but something tells me that it's Harvard because I think I heard something that faintly is associated with that. So I'm going to go with Harvard.
That's your final answer?
Yes.
Yes, you are correct. Harvard University has released no public statement on this. However, the Harvard Crimson reported many of the salacious details, all of which I will give you, well, none of which I will give you, except for the title of the... What's amazing to me is this was a private message group on Facebook for students who were already accepted. They had met up with each other, and a group was formed called, quote, Harvard Memes for Horny Bourgeoisie Teens.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? The score 2-0.
Top of the fifth. Wow, I have so many good... You know what? I'm going to give you categories, and I'm going to let you pick.
No. There's no time for that. Come on. Give me question 5.
I'm giving you in the top of the fifth a question that's along the lines of what you've been giving me and stumped me on for weeks on end. Carter Page, subject of an FBI investigation, is actually Dr. Carter Page. Did you know that?
I did not.
What's the title of Dr. Carter Page's dissertation, earned in 2011 from the University of London School of Oriental and African Studies? The influence of semi-peripheral powers on the balance between capitalism and socialism in Central Asia. B, the paradoxical interrelationship of church and state in post-communist Russia. D, energy geopolitics in Caucasus and Central Asia. Or E, oil and non-democratic politics, explaining resource nationalism in Russia and Venezuela. One of those is Dr. Carter Page's successfully defended dissertation from the University of London School of Oriental and African Studies.
You know, I didn't even hear answer B. Your reception cut out.
I'll go through them again. Answer A is the influence of semi-peripheral powers on the balance between capitalism and socialism in Central Asia. B, perception of pragmatic appropriateness of Russian imperatives. C, the paradoxical interrelationship of church and state in post-communist Russia. D, energy geopolitics in Caucasus and Central Asia. Or E, oil and non-democratic politics, explaining resource nationalism in Russia and Venezuela.
E sounds very plausible. C sounds like the one I would be most likely to want to read. Oil, I guess, makes sense, so I'm going to go with E.
Oil and non-democratic politics explaining resource nationalism in Russia and Venezuela.
That's correct.
Let me just add, before I tell you if that's the correct answer, that these are actually all dissertations, successfully defended dissertations, at various universities over the last 5-6 years.
Oh, lovely. Lovely.
They're all, I did not make up any dissertation titles, though they all sound made up. No, the answer is, and oil, I gave you oil ones for obvious reasons, but the right answer is the influence of semi-peripheral powers on the balance between capitalism and socialism in Central Asia.
And you lost me at semi what? Give me that again.
The influence of semi-peripheral powers, that's obviously some theoretical term, on the balance between capitalism and socialism in Central Asia.
What is on the semi-periphery of your life? That's really, what is that semi-periphery? Oh, thank you, John. Lovely question. Love those dissertations.
Look, I want to thank you for inspiring me to go and look up dissertation titles. Because
I never went to the database of them, though. I mean, mine were just from Wikipedia, if they were kind of common knowledge. But anyway, that was a very good question. The score is 2-0.
Yeah, you are shooting a bagel, as they say.
Oh, thank you. Who said this week?
Yes.
If Kathy Griffin really wanted to shock people, if that was her objective, to shock people, you know what she'd do? Try being funny. That would stun people. That would really shock them, that she could be funny. Was that A, Howard Stern, B, Mark Levin, C, Rush Limbaugh, D, Sean Hannity?
Oh, I thought you were going to throw Bill Maher in there, but Bill Maher liked her.
We'll get to Bill Maher later.
Howard Stern, Hannity, Limbaugh, Levin.
That's right.
Wow, that's a good question. Well, you always throw a Howard Stern one in. And the thing is, when Howard Stern thinks she's funny, my guess is that she's not hot enough for him in his eyes to think she's funny. So I'm going to be counterintuitive and say it's not a conservative talk Nazi, but it is the king of all media.
No, I'm sorry, you're wrong. It is Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, boo. Too obvious.
Excellence in broadcasting. That was built to trick, that question.
It was built to trick. I thought for one it would be. All right. I'm going to save my golden question here. All right. Scott Walker, the governor of Wisconsin, had a busy week. He signed into law a bill that did something not only useless, but you'd think Wisconsin would already have done. A, the bill established cheese as the state's official dairy product. B, it established the dairy cow as the state's domestic animal. C, it established milk as the state's official beverage. D, it established brandy as the state's official spirit. Or E, it established bratwurst as the state's official meat. Scott Walker signed into law a bill last week that established one of these commodities as the official state thing of its kind.
Well, milk sounds rather obvious. The milk industry, the let's drink whole milk as part of our daily routine, those people are going away, and the milk industry is in great trouble. I mean, yes, you can rally around a cow, but the cow itself has to turn into cash somehow. We love cows.
And a cash cow.
Here, cash cow, thank you. So here in the Green Mountains, we love cows, but we love the money we can make from them more. The milk cheese may or may not. Yeah, it's milk or cheese, certainly. Now, Scott Walker signed this. His state legislature must have passed this.
Yes, it was passed. It was duly passed by the Republican-controlled houses, both houses of the legislature, and Scott Walker put his John Hancock on it. Yes, he did.
Well, I can't imagine it's brandy. What are you doing there? I mean, really, who are we talking about?
Actually, statistically, Wisconsin has the highest per capita consumption of brandy and cognac because it's used as a beer chaser. It's a very
that doesn't mean you're going to market your state that way.
It's a very cold state.
It's milk or cheese. And to what extent has the artisanal cheese community taken over Wisconsin and is a thriving small business marketplace? I do not know. Milk is the larger industry. I'm going with milk.
Is that your final? Another brilliant inductive reasoning. It's fantastic.
But not
but
right.
It's cheese.
It is. There it is.
Wisconsin. And the thing is that when you are driving up I-94, especially from Chicago to Milwaukee and parts north, Green Bay, etc., at entire exits, there are only two types of shops: cheese shops and XXX video shops. In fact, I was once driving from Chicago to Minneapolis and was caught in a blizzard and took refuge at an adult video shop because there's so many of them at exits in Wisconsin.
No, you didn't. What
no,
are you
I did. There was a blizzard. It came on the road. The only place at the exit was an adult there. I went in there because I had to. It was a blizzard, and then 20 minutes later it went away, and I drove to Minneapolis.
Were you semi-perfluous, semi-peripheral?
No, it was not semi. Well, it was. No, in fact, because of the snow and the whiteout conditions, there was nothing semi-peripheral about this establishment. It was the only thing it was the only thing I could see. So there was nothing semi-peripheral about it.
Wow.
It was the only place to go, and it had a parking lot.
What a strange story.
And can you imagine that it took Wisconsin this long to establish cheese as its official dairy product?
I'm tired of states branding themselves. I'm here in the Green Mountains, and let's get over this already.
I think Vermont should change, given that it makes so much cheddar cheese. And I'm stealing this from Christopher Buckley and Thank You for Smoking. I think Vermont needs to change its tagline to eat cheese and die. Anyway.
A great place to be when you're not in Florida, something like that. All right, look, question 6 here, okay?
Bottom of the 6. This is an almost impregnable lead, if I get this right.
Sean Hannity saw some of his advertisers abandon him after backlash over reporting on the murder of DNC staffer Seth Rich.
Stole my question. Okay.
Now Hannity is using his program to support efforts like the Media Equality Project, which is itself calling for the boycott of advertisers that support the Rachel Maddow show on MSNBC. One car manufacturer is caught in the middle. Maybe this is your question. A spokesman told the Washington Post, quote, "We're trying to be a good company that does good things." This car manufacturer did pull its advertising from Fox during the O'Reilly scandal this past April, but has since resumed running ads on both networks. Which car manufacturer are we talking about? Do you need the multiple choice?
Well, you're tipping off that it is Toyota, but I don't know if that is one of your choices.
Ford, Tesla, Toyota, or Subaru?
Well, I think the lady in the red blouse who does the Toyota commercials is apolitical enough in appearance that she could easily be deemed relevant to the audiences of both networks and not be a target of confrontational boycotting. So I would say that Toyota is, given that you've kicked it off, but Toyota is probably the most likely answer. And therefore it is my answer.
Thank you for your answer. You are incorrect. It is Subaru. Now, why were you so tipped off about Toyota?
Because you said this question is for you, knowing that I drive a Toyota.
Oh, well, that was just hyperbole. That was just random words.
Well,
every question is for you. I didn't write these for anyone else.
Thank you, Mr. Hannity, for your hyperbole. Okay.
Now, here's your bonus. How many miles are on my 2001 LL Bean Outback? Is it A, 275,000, B, 300,000, C, 310,000, or D, over 315,000 miles?
Well, the last time I heard it was at the 275 mark, so I would guess it's now up to about 300.
No, it's over 315,000 miles. Yes. Now, your double bonus, GrabMyWallet.com lists companies that support the Republican administration and its policies in hopes of promoting nationwide boycotts. Of all of the questions that have been named in this question and its bonuses, only one of these companies is listed on GrabMyWallet.com. Which is it?
Of all the, of this question, the Toyota Ford question?
Yes. And the bonus.
The bonus was...
How many miles are on my 2001 LL Bean Outback?
Isn't that a Subaru?
Hmm.
All right, so Subaru, we already done that. Well, Ford must support the Republican Party. Sounds like Ford.
No, I'm sorry. Maybe this would have played better on paper, but the answer is LL Bean. Now, this
LL.
2001 Outback was one of Subaru's entries into what they thought would be a luxury market. They teamed up with LL Bean. And yes, LL Bean's the only one listed on GrabMyWallet.com. Don't forget, folks, Subaru, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
All right, well, given that I feel like I was taken off course there, I'm going to give you a tough one. Not the rest. All right, you ready? Did you know that United Airlines kicked another passenger off a flight last week?
Really?
And it got very news coverage. But this time, the circumstances were somewhat different. A man in a Make America Great Again hat caused a disturbance that required all passengers to be taken off the plane, and it delayed their transoceanic flight by several hours. The gentleman, upset that United would not upgrade him to first class, insisted that the coach seats on either side of him be left unoccupied instead, and physically kept those seat holders, including a woman with crutches, from getting to their seat. This is true. He referred to one female passenger who upbraided him as, quote, Hillary, and another as, quote, a lesbian. When United staff finally ushered him off the plane, passengers rose as one and in multiple languages called out, "Lock him up." This is a true story. In which languages, based on the departure and arrival cities for the flight, did they yell, "Lock him up"? So I'm going to give you the languages and the itinerary. And one of them is not fake news. Chinese and English on a flight from Hong Kong to Chicago. English and Russian on a flight from Melbourne to St. Petersburg. Japanese and English on a flight from Tokyo to London. Chinese and English on a flight from Shanghai to Newark, or Korean and French on a flight from Seoul to Paris. And this is all a true story. I made up no details.
I believe the answer is D. I believe
Shanghai,
the flight was leaving Shanghai.
There was another Chinese to English option. I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that. Hong Kong, Chicago, or Shanghai, Newark.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm going to go with option D.
You know, you got that one right.
Yeah, I know I did. Dude, I saw this article. I was blown away. They chanted, "Lock him up," in different languages as he tried to use the rhetoric of the Republican administration to get his way on a plane. I believe that is the last time people will feel secure about wearing a Make America Great Hat again. You know what I'm saying. Nobody's going to wear them dumb things anymore.
All right, well, that was very good.
Thank you. The score is now 3-1, right?
No, it's 2-1. I only have 2.
Oh, you only have 2. Oh, because I thought you were going to get the Toyota Subaru.
Round 3 and 4, I got correct.
You'll get this one because you love this guy. Which of these people?
Yes.
Which of these people did not tweet in support of Bill Maher? following his apology for using a racial slur in his HBO show this past Friday. Which of these people did not tweet in support of Bill Maher?
He used a racial... I haven't watched the show. He used a racial slur?
Are you serious? You didn't see this?
I have it on tape, but I haven't seen it. What racial slur did he use? Well, I guess he
what kind of baiting is that? Come on. Is it A, Larry King? Sorry you're not up on this. A, Larry King. B, Donna Brazile. C, Ann Coulter. Or D, Norm Macdonald. Which of these folks did not tweet in support of Bill Maher following his use of a racial slur which shall not be named here?
Well, that's true, because that would give away. See, so if he called Canadians Canucks, Norm Macdonald wouldn't have done that.
Dude, he used the N-word.
Oh.
I'm really surprised. Usually you have watched Bill Maher, so therefore I don't quiz you on it. And
but I wouldn't know who tweeted him in support. Well, Ann Coulter would probably support him on that, because I'm sure it was out of context. And the first one was whom?
Larry King, Donna Brazile, Ann Coulter, or Norm Macdonald.
Well, I can't see Donna Brazile supporting anybody saying the N-word, no matter what the circumstance, because that would be politically incorrect. Although that is what Bill Maher is about. Norm Macdonald is innocuous enough that he would have done it. Larry King. This is so obvious. It's Donna Brazile. It's wrong, but it's Donna Brazile.
That is wrong. The answer is Ann Coulter.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Everybody else tweeted in support following his apology.
What did he say?
I'm not getting into it. I don't like the guy. I never have. I'm interested in Hollywood's response when a comedian uses that, or holds up the president's head, whatever.
All right, top of the eighth.
Top of the eighth. Here you go.
We've already talked about the Stanley Cup Finals and their connection to Pittsburgh and the climate deal, but there's another major championship sports final taking place. Did you know that?
No.
There are firsts being established there as well. For the first time, the NBA Finals are being contested by the same two teams, the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers, for 3 consecutive seasons. That's never happened before. Golden State, which won the title 2 years ago, has set a record by winning now its first 14 playoff games, breaking the record of 11 twice set by the LA Lakers. The Cavaliers are the defending champs, and they won their first 10 playoff games, but then lost once in the conference finals. They're now down 0-2 as the series moves to Cleveland for Game 3 Wednesday night. Until Sunday's Game 2, won by the Warriors, Golden State's head coach, Steve Kerr, hadn't been on the bench since the opening game of the postseason due to recurring problems with his surgically repaired back. In his place for 12 consecutive games, all of them Warriors victories, was a man, his top assistant, who led Cleveland to the NBA Finals several years ago, then was fired by the Cavs as head coach not once but twice. What's the name of the assistant, the former interim head coach, who's hoping to get revenge against his old team? Mike Brown, Mike White, Cedric Black, Tyrone Gray, Latrell Green. He is a man of color, apparently, although that's his surname. Mike Brown, Mike White, Cedric Black, Tyrone Gray, Latrell Green.
I have nothing, dude. I have nothing. The part of my brain that could care about this stuff has been so filled up with other things. I couldn't even hear all of the nuance of your question. It goes to someone who has any vested interest whatsoever. Mike Brown, just because it sounds nice. I don't even know.
Is that your final answer, Mike Brown?
Yeah.
It is Mike Brown.
Oh, see, there you go.
Oh, you're hot. It's tied.
It is tied. It is tied. Oh, man. Let's see here. Well, I know you spend a lot of time on Ann Coulter's Twitter feed, so what was the headline of the article Ann Coulter retweeted this past week, labeling it as fake news? Was it A, Coulter speaks highly of former Fox associate Bill O'Reilly, B, Coulter speaks highly of former Fox exec Roger Ailes, C, Coulter rumored to be named next White House press secretary, or D, Coulter and Sarah Palin to team up for talk show opposite Bill Maher?
Well, I think they're all fake news. The question is, which one did she tweet and tweet?
That's right. Which one drew Sarah Palin's attention to the point where she had to retweet and say this is fake?
No, Ann Coulter, not Sarah Palin. Does that mean you just gave me the answer? Yeah. I think it's Bill O'Reilly. I think that's the one.
Coulter speaks highly of former Fox associate Bill O'Reilly?
Yes.
No. It was Coulter speaks highly of former Fox exec Roger Ailes.
But he's dead.
But she wanted the world to understand that that is fake news, and no, she does not praise him.
Okay.
At least not in that way.
Even Rachel Maddow praised Roger Ailes. She's been very public that Roger Ailes really helped her in her career. He was on Howard Stern's show and said that. Even I know that.
Yes, I have not yet heard the Rachel Maddow Howard Stern interview. I look forward to it. Bring it on, sir.
He's apparently been very sick with what we don't know, but she apparently went on his show and talked about Roger Ailes and that, that she doesn't approve of what Ailes did, but that he was actually, she said even that Roger Ailes offered to pay her a lot of money because, not to have a show because he was so concerned of that she was so good, what her presence at a competing network might do to his network. That's what she said. So, all right, this is getting serious, and I'm all right. It's tied. It's top of the nine. It was an unusually public week for whistleblowers, not even counting Trump-related leaks. Megyn Kelly exposed a drug company opioid scandal on her inaugural show on NBC, which was very good, by the way. And in a non-TV case, the top tax strategy officer at a major U.S. firm moved closer to a successful resolution of his expose of his former company's $2.4 billion federal tax avoidance around a foreign subsidiary it created to avoid paying taxes. Which firm could be close to having to pay both billions to the Fed and up to $600 million to this former executive? Which firm might be $3 billion in the hole due to this whistleblower? General Dynamics, Xerox, Caterpillar, McDonnell Douglas, Microsoft.
Xerox, Caterpillar, Microsoft, McDonnell Douglas,
and General Dynamics.
And the allegations of the whistleblower's revelations are
that the company was setting up a foreign subsidiary to avoid $2.4 billion in taxes. That the subsidiary was created to avoid paying taxes.
I'm going to go with Caterpillar.
And why did you pick Caterpillar?
Well, I don't even want to go there because if I'm wrong, that's a horrible slam on Caterpillar. Which of these do you think is the most nefarious major international corporation? Would any of these companies create a tax shelter for their own bottom line benefit? That's a policy that's endorsed by our president. So I guess it's not that much of a slam. Why Caterpillar? The product. The product is as international as you can sell Xerox machines, you can sell paper, you can sell imaging, you can sell data storage, but there has to be infrastructure, and you need a bulldozer for that.
But what about defense contractors? No?
Yeah, well, if they're doing things like that, I have no reason to believe we would ever find out, and whistleblowers would not end up having whistles to blow.
Well, the
or
answer
be
is
lone,
Caterpillar. So
whatever it
very
may be.
good. The answer is Caterpillar, and you are hot.
Oh no! Oh no! Look at this! Look
I mean,
at this!
You are in the lead. This is just like what happened last week. I'm choking. My goodness.
You're not choking. Just these questions are not easy. That's all. That's and it's okay.
No, it's a choke. It's a total choke. Okay, I'm gonna correct that and get this one right. Bottom of the ninth.
You are. You are. You are. So on May 18th, who called the removal of Donald Trump from the presidency by way of the 25th Amendment, quote, the worst idea since Leno at 10 p.m.? Was that A, Bill Maher, B, Pat Buchanan, C, Charles Krauthammer, D, Sean Hannity, or E, Howard Stern?
So this person said that invoking the 25th Amendment, the mental illness, fitness for office clause of the Constitution, against Trump would be the worst idea since Leno at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Bill Maher would say that because he likes Leno. He's had Leno on his show. I don't know why he likes Leno, because I think Leno is
Well, this
funny.
is not a slam on Leno. This is a slam on Leno at 10 p.m.
No, but Leno, no, it's not Leno. Krauthammer, Hannity, Stern, and who's the other one?
Pat Buchanan.
Buchanan. No, he wouldn't talk about that. Hannity, Stern, Krauthammer. The question is, would a pundit say that? Would Krauthammer? That sounds beneath. I think my instinct is that it's Krauthammer, but that sounds beneath him because he's very intellectual. He's a psychiatrist by training. Hannity would say that. All right, I'm going to go with Bill Maher because it's counterintuitive. It's either Maher or Stern. I'm going with Maher.
Well, I really appreciate your inductive reasoning. However, it is Charles Krauthammer. Why would you think that's beneath him?
Because he doesn't talk about that stuff. He's a very serious guy.
Do check out his May 18th article, which pretty much pleads with the Republican big bosses, whoever they are, to just please don't do it this way. That is the 25th Amendment. Yeah, quote, the worst idea since Leno at 10 p.m.
Well, the reason why that makes sense, and that's why I was inclined to, because he is trained as a psychiatrist, so he would say, so, you can't call the guy mentally ill unless you, well, I'm in trouble, and I don't know. I was actually thinking that, I had a question ready to go, but I'm thinking that you may have seen it, and I was scrambling actually to come up with another question that I think you wouldn't know, but that's okay. I'm going to save it because what does it matter if I lose, right?
It's 3-2. That's where we're at?
Yeah, this is for the game. You win this, it's over with another incredible come from behind win. All right. Chelsea Clinton question.
Oh, come on. You think I don't know my Chelseas? Come on.
I don't.
Oh.
The very day that President Fatass pulled out of the climate accord, Chelsea made her own expression of resistance. What did she do? She wrote a check to Greenpeace for $10,000. She wore an all-green outfit to a gay pride event. She issued a joint statement with her parents vowing to, quote, do whatever I can to offset the U.S. pullout. She called her close friend Ivanka Trump, asking her to share Chelsea's disgust personally with President Pomposity, or she solicited a commitment to a $100,000 donation from her husband's hedge fund to Michael Bloomberg's campaign to raise tens of millions of dollars in private donations in lieu of U.S. government contributions. The day President Fatass announced the pullout from the climate accord, Chelsea did something very specific. In response, she wrote a check to Greenpeace. She wore all green to a gay pride event. She issued a joint statement with her parents. She called her close friend Ivanka Trump, asking her to register her personal disgust with her father. or she solicited a commitment to a $100,000 donation from her husband's hedge fund to Michael Bloomberg's fund to support what the U.S. government would not.
All right, I did not see this. I mean, I was boastful about, ha ha ha, I stay up on Chelsea Clinton, but I did not see this.
That's what she said, by the way. Yes.
Green Outfit is out. Greenpeace is out. Joint statement with the parents? I doubt it. And a call to Ivanka between raising $100K towards Bloomberg. If it was reported to be $100K, then it's probably much more. And when Mike Bloomberg came out and said that, I'm like, well, yes, money is cool. Where's the political coalition? And if Chelsea, I think call to Ivanka versus raising money from what? The Clinton Foundation hedge fund?
No, her husband's hedge fund. Her husband works for a hedge fund.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. The $100K to Bloomberg. That I'm going with that.
It turns out her husband was fired from the hedge fund in February. No, she wore green to a gay pride event at the Stonewall. And in fact, according to The Guardian, the Guardian showed the picture of it. The green outfit was transparent, and you could see her very tasteful bra underneath it.
No one ever went broke underestimating the vanity of the Clintons. And here well, that's okay.
She wore all green. She intentionally wore an all green outfit to a gay pride event at the Stonewall.
That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't do anything. I mean, does it?
But it got her photographed, and we saw her bra through her.
So what does she want to be? The apprentice? I mean, what does she want? What does she want from us?
Well, I don't think that's all Chelsea did. I think she did other things, but that's what she did.
What does the woman want from us? Will the Olsen twins be old enough to run in 2020?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Boy, wouldn't that be great?
Oh, 2020 they have to be 35. That means they'd be born. Yeah, I think the Olsen twins were born after 1985.
See, Chelsea. That's close. That's close. But I mean, most of the world sees the Olsens as a set. So they would. I'd say that's a superhero team up straight out of Lower Manhattan. All right, this means you could tie it up with this question, right?
Yes, I could.
Oh man!
But I'm reeling. I'm reeling. Just like the New York Times said, London is reeling from all the terrorist attacks, and London isn't reeling because London doesn't reel. Maybe they meant the Virginia reel. Perhaps London was doing a square dance.
This is tricky. This is a tricky question. I'm glad I saved it for the end. We all know about the 1987 book, Trump, The Art of the Deal.
Yes. I own hundreds of copies myself.
But the president has co-authored many books in his career. Which of these is not a book officially authored or co-authored by Donald Trump? A, Trump, Think Like a Billionaire. B, Trump, The Art of the Comeback. C, Think Big and Kick Ass in Business and in Life. D, Why We Want You to Be Rich. Or E, Trump, The Best Career Advice I Ever Received.
Okay, well, The Comeback is a Trump book, so it's not that one. The Best Business Advice I Ever Received, that's one of them.
The Best Career Advice I Ever Received.
Okay. And what are the others?
Trump, Think Like a Billionaire. Think Big and Kick Ass in Business and in Life.
Okay, it's the last one because Trump has never admitted to taking advice from anybody. And it's the one about the best business advice, whatever.
It's best career advice. Do you want these answers again? You're getting them confused.
No, it's the one about advice. It's the last one. It's the one about advice. He doesn't take advice. He doesn't do that. It's the one about career advice. That's the answer.
Well, you know what? You are correct. But what's amazing is there are 2 Trump books called Trump, the best fill in the blank advice I ever received. One fill in the blank is golf, the best golf advice I ever received, and the other is the best real estate advice I ever received. No, he has never written the best career advice. And also, you just threw in the word business, which would sound as good as any other thing.
It doesn't matter. He has maybe he got golf tips. I don't know.
Yeah, he did, and he put them in a book and sold them.
And maybe he got real estate tips because his father. I mean, because his father was a real estate guy, so he would have acknowledged taking real estate advice, and he would have acknowledged taking golf advice because he's not a golfer. He just wants to be one. So fine. But when it comes to career and business advice, he would never acknowledge taking anything from anybody who wasn't his own flesh and blood, and therefore my inductive reasoning worked. It's a tie game. How are we doing the tiebreaker? Are we going to do this like the NFL, where one person gets it and the other person, then the other person gets last up?
Do you have a tiebreaker question?
I do, but I sense it's very easy, and you'll get it.
Well, let's see. I've got a tiebreaker for you. You've got a tiebreaker for me, and we'll see if either one of us fails at each other's questions, because mine's not that hard either.
Yeah, I'll give you mine, and then we can always declare it tie. All right, you ready?
Yes.
Decorated Navy SEAL Chief Special Warfare Operator Joseph John Schmidt III is in trouble for taking money to perform a second job or outside duties not viewed as bringing honor to the Navy. For what outside activity and or remuneration is Schmidt facing possible discharge? A, he took expenses for several trips on behalf of Hillary Clinton's campaign and didn't declare them. B, he made campaign appearances for foreign agent Donald Trump's campaign and didn't declare the rides he took on Air Trump. C, he took money from Israel for providing special intelligence-related work about a former Mossad agent who was allegedly revealing Israeli state secrets. D, he's a porn star who has performed in almost 30 XXX films, most with his wife, who's a big porn star. Or E, he's an exotic dancer by the name of Humpy Holzmer, who was exposed at a bachelorette party when the bride-to-be recognized him as one of her intended SEAL buddies.
I'm going to go with the exotic dancer, Humpy Holzmer.
Humpy Holzmer, the exotic dancer. Is that your final answer?
It is.
No!
No?
It's not Holzmer. I worked the Holzmer one into this question. He is a porn star. His porn name is Jay Voom, and his wife is a big porn star. And she's world famous, and he has participated. Most of the almost 30 porn films in which he has performed have been with his wife, but he has performed with other female porn stars outside the holy matrimonial bonds. So the Navy, and apparently all of his SEAL buddies knew this and admired him for it. They all knew that his wife was a porn star and that he was performing with her on camera, and they didn't seem to care, which I think may violate many codes of the Naval Ethical Code of Conduct. Nonetheless, his name is not Humpy Holzmer.
That's fascinating, John. That's all right. You have to get this tiebreaker right,
or
else it is a final and declared tie.
It's a final and declared tie. And the reason why I was wary of asking you that is because I got it from the same place as I got the guy on the United Flight story, and I thought you would have seen it at the same site and clicked on the link like I did.
No, I don't. The inner workings and bad behavior of the willing members of the military-industrial intel complex, their bad behavior does not surprise me. Okay, you have to get this right, and then we can call you a winner. I know. I just figured. I just, yeah. I wanted out of that.
I I took your advice, and instead of doing a Keeping Up with the Holzmers,
Sure.
I worked it into an answer.
Well,
here's
here's
my
a
Holzmer answer will be the correct one. Go ahead. I can't wait for my chance to win. I love to win.
who said this? The reason I'm not impressed with science and scientists is because the Lord Almighty can overcome all those so-called facts in the blink of an eye.
Oh, I think I know this person. Intuitively, I think I know it, but I want the multiple choice.
Was it Jeff Beauregard Sessions, former Senator Jim DeMint, U.S. Representative Jeff Duncan of South Carolina's 3rd District, or Senator James Inhofe of Oklahoma?
My first instinct was that it was a Ben Carson quote. It sounds like a Ben Carson quote, but if it's not Ben Carson, it very much sounds like the environmental denier in chief, Senator Inhofe, who is known for bringing a snowball into the Senate and using that as evidence that global warming is a hoax. And he doesn't like scientists. Now, Mr. Duncan may not like scientists, and Mr. Sessions might not, but he would never say that as Attorney General. DeMint might, but it's Jim Inhofe.
It is. John has won the quiz. Come from behind with the tiebreaker.
I was so worried there that I feel, my God, I'm choking. But
Well, I'm glad that we both had tiebreakers prepared.
Glorious. That's all I have to say. What a game.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to brush up on my NFL stats and everything else you need to be
No,
ready.
I did not give you any. Well, I gave you a football question. Well, it was partially a football question.
Yeah, see, and NBA and FL
Well, just
and
so you know, I mean, the NBA and Stanley Cup Finals will likely go into. Well, they will go into next week because they can't end before Friday and Sunday.
Is our next show going to be all Cosby?
I don't know. I could have made this show. I could have made this all Paris Accord. I have many more climate questions in the quiver, but I'm saving some of them.
Well, we'll quiver along until next week. Congratulations, John, on your double come from behind victory.
And what I'm going to do in celebration is I'm going to donate the 1/4 ton of gravel to a worthy Vermont cause of your picking.
Oh, thank you. It will live under the site of the hot tub that I don't have. And maybe someday in the future we will be playing for that very hot tub.
Well, frankly, it could go to prevent erosion of your creek bed or your river bed, so it could be of great use because I personally have helped make that river great again. So.
Oh man! Well, look, thank you. What a broadcast this has been. And
interrupt as it was many times by technical flaws along the lines of season 5, episode 2 of House of Cards, it yet turned out to be a very solid, and God knows, had we gone down to the absolute second tiebreaker to settle this, wow.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. That is...
You didn't get the Chelsea Clinton question. I just thought that you knew everything Chelsea, and I was concerned that saving that was going to cost me the victory, but apparently my left-handed strategy paid off, and I just thought, I thought you would be intrigued by Chelsea's translucent green, jolly green giant see-through, let's look at her bra outfit.
I'm trying to be more selective about what I become fascinated by anymore. And the behaviors of the Clintons, there's enough Republicans on that watch. They don't need me anymore. And that is, I mean, really, that's inconsequential. That's simply being a celebrity. That's not being
No,
a child of a politician
I think Chelsea would do many, many things for this. I
would?
think Chelsea...
What verb tense would you like to use towards this? Will.
Will and have. Will and Grace, if it was a gay event. No, I think...
Chelsea in the midterms? Will Chelsea be on stumping?
No, I just think... no, I think that... I think Chelsea is a very sincere person. I think I'm rather impressed with Chelsea in many ways. I think, she's very courteous. I don't know. I don't have anything overtly negative to say about Chelsea.
I don't think I look forward to, as with everyone, she coming into her own being. Even more so, because we've grown up together, Chelsea and I, and she went and married a banker, and will live a life that none of us can imagine. I hope she uses those powers for good.
Except he's no longer banking; he's out of a job.
You're never out of a job. If you're in with that crowd, you're not out of a job. What's her last name again? Right, he's not out of a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't matter. So anyway, you've been listening to Trigger Warnings. Thanks all. What a blast. John, catch you soon. I have no instrument to play here at the end of this broadcast, but we'll catch you again
But
soon.
I'm imagining you twanging away.
Twang, twang,
I can see you on the banjo, big smile on your face.
Let's rev the engine. That'll be fun.
1979. All right.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.